person bringing the sacrifice, we still can't accept his sacrifice. So the Rabbanan say that Leis Sakrivu is a chiddush, and Rabbi Yehuda says no. I would have known anyway that anything on the mizbeach can't be with the mum. What do I need Leis Sakrivu for? To tell me the Kabbalah Saddam, that even receiving the blood is a sixth prohibition. Lishna Achrina, the Gemara goes through this very similar to what we just did, and I think it comes out the same, but it's just a different version of the same Gemara. Lishna Achrina, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Afal Kabbalah Saddam. Says there's also a prohibition to receive the blood. My timer. What's the reason for Rabbi Yehuda? It says the Ksiv Umauch V'Kasos, that source of all those types of mumin. It says Leis Sakrivu. Leis Sakrivu zu Kabbalah Saddam. Okay. The Gemara says Uzrika Nafkalei Mi'alam Mizbeach. So far it seems to be the same. For Rabbanan, Nami typically is Zrika min Alam Mizbeach. The Rabbanan also, they learn the Zrika from Alam Mizbeach. So what do they have? The Leis Sakrivu. Hachinami. Zrika mal Zrika Hachinami. But Leis Sakrivu demach v'chasos l'mayasa. So what do the Rabbanan do with Leis Sakrivu? So here's where it switches a little bit. Mafkinan l'bamas yachid. They learn for a bamas yachid that you can't have a mum. Is it bamas yachid of a guy? No. I think so far, it's going to throw in a guy soon, but so far, bamas yachid. Rabbi Yehuda Haimi Baile bamas yachid. We need it for a bamas yachid that there can't be a mum. Leis Sakrivu. How does he know Kabbalah Saddam? In a chenami. You're right. Ela Sakrivu the Kabbalah minale. So where does he know Kabbalah Saddam? Miad ben Nechar Leis Sakrivu zu Kabbalah Saddam. He learns it from Miad ben Nechar. It says Leis Sakrivu there. For Rabbanan, what about for them? They also they have an extra pasuk of Miad ben Nechar Leis Sakrivu. So it's just that pasuk is an extra. Since in their own altars they're allowed to bring a korban that has a mum, that's just not allowed to be a mechusar eiver. I could have thought that they're allowed to bring it also to the temple. Kamash Malan, Mikol Eila, the Lay Mekablinan. Learn from the Leis Sakrivu that you're not allowed to bring to the altar either. So the Rabbanan need a pasuk to tell me that, and Rabbi Yossi doesn't. It seems like it's the same conclusion as the last Gemara.
Yeah.
We just threw in another source, a Bamas Yachid source.
Excuse me, and this is because the Goyim have their own rules about what they can bring as a carbon?
Right.
To their own.
For their own purpose.
It's not their rules.
It's our rules.
Well, no, that's what I'm asking. It says, B'nei Noach nitztavu melahakriv mechusrei avarim. Is this a rule from us, or is the rule that they have for themselves? Because this is the whole problem with the story of, the emperor who sent something with a moon, because according to his rule, it wasn't the moon.
That's interesting. So I guess
we're talking about our rules, because otherwise we'd be saying Okum and not Noach.
Yeah, what we're talking.
So we're talking about Shiva Mitzvahs and Noach. Up until now, every Gemara talked about Akum.
Yeah, so the Shiva Mitzvahs.
We know the Shiva Mitzvahs.
So we know that they're
include. This isn't one of the seven. It's not in the list.
Oh, there's really like 40 something.
There's really like 40. Yeah. And one of ours is that they cannot bring a sacrifice that's a bal mum.
Yeah.
You learn it from Cain in heaven.
Really?
Yeah. You got to go through that Gemara over there in Sanhedrin.
It's like the Ten Commandments contain no 613. It's numbers. It's numbers. It's the accountant. They can do anything with
50
numbers.
up, 50 down. Who's counting?
Okay. So what we're learning over here is that we know their own rules, that they're allowed to bring a korban. Their Sheva Mitzvahs, the rules of Bnei Nach is that they should be allowed to bring a korban that has a mum. Maybe we could bring it on the altar as well. So it tells us Leis Sakrivu, we can't bring it on the altar. Who needs that pasuk? Only the Rabbanan. According to Rabbi Yehuda, he doesn't need the pasuk to tell me that. We would know anyway. On our altars, we can't bring it. You want to throw this back into that sugi over there? Maybe there was a discussion. Should they bring it anyway? Right? Okay.
That's why the Bais got destroyed.
Yeah.
Because of, who was it? The Bais in peace?
Zechariah ben Avkulas. The Gemara says Zechariah ben Avkulas.
Should have killed the guy.
Right, that was the
That
option.
was the final.
Right. Maskefla Rish Lakish. The Gemara is jumping back to our Gemara before. We said that there's 5 prohibitions. Rish Lakish has a general question. Shemalei Shanino, maybe the prohibition is only Ela Betam Shenasa Balmum Va'over. We're talking about an animal that was born eligible to be a sacrifice, but it became a balmum later. The balmum mikara. So what Rish Lakish means to say is that maybe the prohibition, or those 5 prohibitions of offering a sacrifice that's a balmum, there's only one that was originally eligible. But if balmum mikara, dikla ba'almahu. Does it translate dikla as a basket or as a palm tree? It says palm tree. Dikla ba'almahu. It's a regular. It's a palm tree. It could be that the term dikla was also used as a palm basket. Okay, so it's what do you mean? Yeah, if you're the problem here is you're consecrate. You see, I know about the shechita, I know about those things, but when we're adding to you're not allowed to consecrate it. That's a prohibition as well. You can't even sanctify it. What do you mean? This is I'm sanctifying it just for the meat. It's not a right because I can. It's not a treifa. It just has a mum. I'm sanctifying it for its value. There's no prohibition if I sanctify a palm tree, right? So here, it was never eligible to be a sacrifice. Why? I sanctified an animal with the mum. I get all these prohibitions. I get malchus for that. If it was eligible to be a sacrifice, and now it has a mum, so you're switching. There's a deviation here, but this was never eligible. Amalei Rav Chia Bar Yosef. Chia Bar Yosef says, you're forgetting the pasuk. Serua v'kalat. Serua is one of the legs are broken, or one is longer maybe than the other, or maybe an eye. We had different pshatim over there when we learned this. Where was this? In Chulin we learned it. Was it in Chulin or Becheres? In Chulin. However, and then kalat is if the webbed feet. Ksiv v'parsha, those are definitely born like that. Those didn't happen later. So v'hani balamum mikaraninu, and the pasuk prohibits that. So the Gemara says, Amalei shemalei shanino ela b'temurah. This, Temurah has a stringency over other things, which is interesting. The Tanan was taught, Chaimer b'temurah mi bezevach. There's a stringency of Temurah over an original consecration of an animal. Shekin kedusha chalal al balmum kavua. Because if you consecrate a regular animal, or just an animal, you want to turn it into a sacrifice, it doesn't become sanctified as a sacrifice if it has a mum. It becomes just kache bedekabayas or whatever. But if it's Temurah, if you have an animal and you exchange that, one animal as a sacrifice, you exchange it for another animal that is a mum kavua, that animal gets kedushas mizbeach. And then I have to wait till it gets a mum, and I have to, it has a different, if you consecrate an animal with that's originally a balmum, it doesn't get kedushas mizbeach. It's because kedushas by the kabayas. I don't have to wait for it to get a mum. It doesn't have all the halachas of asura begiz of avodah and all of those halachas.
It's like mamash and nifla. It's like a new thought.
It's more strict.
Yeah. That taka balmum
Can become originally a kedusha mizbeach through Temurah, via Temurah. So maybe the prohibition here is only on when did we say that there's an isser to be makdish a karban that's a balmum, and even if it's a balmum mikara, that's only when you're doing it through Temurah. But if you would originally go over to an animal and try to consecrate it, and the animal has a mum, so what's the problem? It's a dikla ba'alma. It's regular bedek abayas. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan says, "L'shmiel achadam Rabbi Yanai bechabura nimnu v'gamru." know if it means Rabbi Yanai Bechabura, or this that Rabbi Yanai said that it was said Bechabura, that everyone, or Bechabura Nimna V'Gamru. They've established that a Makdish Balmum L'Gam B'Mizbeach, if someone sanctifies an animal, Oiver Mishum Chamisha Shemis. There's 5 prohibitions there. V'i B'Temurah, and if you're dealing with a carbon that's Temurah, so you forgot one of them. V'i B'Temurah Nami, Shisha Havin, there's 6. The Gemara says, why Dikanami Lav the Temurah? Because you have the prohibition of Temurah. Elamai bebalmum meikare. Must be that even with the regular balmum, and we're doing a regular, so amai lucky dikla balmus. So then why there's a malchus? It's just like consecrating a palm tree. Amalei dikla lav zila milsa min eitzimu. If you consecrate a palm tree, you're not shaming God. That's a type of wood. The temple needs wood. It's not a problem. But balmum meikara. But if you're consecrating an animal, that's a balmum. Zila milsa, that's shaming. That's even the shavik tamim makdish balmum mechayev, because there are other animals that you can consecrate. You can consecrate an animal that doesn't have a mum.
You could say you consecrated it for the money.
Right.
What's so bad about money?
Right.
For the meat, for the money. What's so bad
It's
about
because it's the neglect of the other types that you could have done. It's also something, you're right. But it's still, nevertheless, there's a shame.
This is only allowed to give it to the Mizbeach as a korban.
Yeah.
But to give it to Hekdesh is no problem.
Right.
Somebody has an animal balmum, he gives it to Bedek Bais.
Yeah. Remember we had a Mishnah in Paris. Kol P'salei HaMikdashim, that was the Perek. No, not Kol P'salei HaMikdashim. We had a Mishnah that discussed mum meikarai.
You give it to the Bedek Bais.
Yeah.
So how does he get how does he over? He says specifically it's for the Mizbeach.
Yeah.
So he gets 5 different lashes.
Yeah. If he follows through the whole thing. Lishnachrina, there's another interpretation. Normally, I feel hachi biz milsa. Nevertheless, it's still shaming, like degrading. The dekel leka b'mina. By dekel, there is nothing else that you're supposed to give other than wood. So loylaki lafuki balmum. But by a balmum, kiven deka b'mina, there's other types of animals that you can give. So that's why lucky. Amar Rava. Rava says, Hashta da Amar Taima de Balmum de Laki Mishum de Basi Malsayu. Now that you've come on to this interpretation, that the reason why there's Malchus for a Balmum is because it's shaming, it's degrading. Afilu lemakdish le ledmei nesachim nami laki. Even if you're going to sanctify it, that you're going to use the money to buy nesachim, to buy the wine, the oil, and it's also Malchus. Because you could have been makdish something else that doesn't have a mum. Tani Kavasei
There's only two laws that you can't use the money. So there's
no, right. Here we're not talking about not using the money. Here we're talking about not being makdish this for the sanctification of that. Its money should be used for. I see what you're saying.
There's only 2. It says
Right.
So what if according to Rava, if he brings the nesachim,